You're listening to the Values and Leadership Podcast, where business leaders share their stories of purposeful impact and success.
Hello, and welcome to the Values and Leadership Podcast, the podcast for innovative leaders who want to apply new ways of doing things in work to become more successful and have a purposeful impact on their stakeholders. I am your host, Ahmed Arif. We invite corporate leaders, consultants, and owners who believe in participative leadership and love to share their positive life and business experiences, their sense of direction, sense of meaning, and how they challenged their thinking in growing their business and the people around them to their next best stage. In this episode, we will explore the inspirational journey of a natural leader who is now known as a serial entrepreneur, thanks to his success and business acumen. Tom Walter has more than 40 years of experience as an owner-operator in the service industry, an author, speaker, principal, investor, and advisor. Tom has participated in the startup of 35 companies, 9 of which he remains active in. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Thank you for having me, Ahmed.
Actually, we would like to know more about Tom's background, and Tom's journey in life. This is very fundamental to your life. So, who is Tom Walter?
Well, my background of my life is I came from a family of 11 children, and I was the second oldest. And I left my home when I was 19 because there wasn't enough food in the house to eat, and the babies got the first amount of food. And so I left home, and I had a series of jobs, and I didn't like any of my bosses. I ended up getting fired from every job I had except one, and that one I couldn't see spending the rest of my life. I enjoyed the work, but it was going to be boring and mindless. So I started my own business when I was 21, 22 years old, 23 maybe, and with 2 partners in the fast food segment. I liked the work, I liked the challenge, and I knew that if I worked hard, I could make money. And then as opportunities came along in my life, I swung to those opportunities and tried different types of businesses. And then as I got older and more tired, I focused on catering, because catering was not like the restaurant business. Catering, we didn't have food cost problems, and we didn't have labor problems, and we weren't affected by the weather. People would order food for galas and events and happy celebrations 2 or 3 months in advance, and we knew exactly how much food to prepare and how much beverages to prepare. So we switched into catering and sold our satellite businesses. I have 2 brothers who are partners, brother number 7 and brother number 11 in our family. And we focused on catering, and I really just wanted to focus on one business because I was in my mid-50s. And that's when we had a revolution within my company, and I changed direction in 2005. And since 2005, we've now started another 14 businesses or something. I lose track because there's so many sub-businesses, I have to sit and count them. But we now have businesses that are in the transportation industry, marketing industry, food manufacturing, gift businesses, a whole series of businesses that were started by employees, not Tom Walter. These employees had the ideas, and they were younger. And so now, where am I right now? I am more of a mentor, that wise, sage old men that we remember when we were younger. Our grandfathers, Jadus, our older people that we treasured, and that's my function. I come in for 4 or 5 hours a day, meet with the senior leaders from the company, and talk to the younger people, to the line level employees. I walk through the buildings and I bump knuckles or I pat them on the back. We talk about their children and their lives, and that's where I am today.
Great. You mentioned that you are now into mentoring. Why does it matter for you?
Well, it matters to me because I think we have a responsibility to our people to help them through life. And it's not just making money for our company. I believe that just in my family, it's my responsibility to teach my children right and wrong, to encourage them, to save them the pain that we went through when we were younger, the pain of doing wrong and then having to suffer with the consequences. And so since this revolution in our company, I switched my focus to being more of that father figure with our employees, talking to them about their life, their children. As I'm a grandfather now, I can spend time talking about where are your children at? Are you spending enough time at home? Why don't you bring your kids in on Saturday, bring your children in on Saturday so I can meet them? And then I give them, little snacks and little fun things. But it's about helping the people with the problems in their lives. Now, how does this affect our business? You can be a loving man and care about people. That's true. But if you want to look at this, is this a good business? Well, an industrial psychologist told me that we have 60,000 thoughts every day, the average human being. We have 60,000 individual thoughts. And the average business owner only gets 4 to 6% of those thoughts. And I thought if Tasty Catering, and I'm doodling with my numbers, just drawing numbers, Ahmed, and I thought, if I could get 10 to 12% of their thoughts, that's 250,000, 250,000 more thoughts every day. So those are called discretionary thoughts. So if I can help remove the angst from people's minds, the problems, it opens up their minds to think about positive things. And if I can help an employee with an issue, like right now we had an employee that had a serious medical concern with one of their children, and we lent them a large amount of money at a very low interest rate to get the child taken care of. And I made some phone calls to my doctors to make sure that they were getting good medical care. And now that person isn't thinking about their child. They're thinking about, how do I reward this company and make this company stronger? So I'm sure in our own lives, we can say we're always thinking about bad things. What could go wrong? What could go wrong with my family? What could go wrong with my business? We don't think about positive things, typical human beings. So that's why I spend time mentoring. And every Saturday I come into my place of business on Saturdays just to meet with our employees. And some of them are employees from 40 years ago. They'll come in and sit down and talk to me about where they're going in life. And over the last, I've actually been in business, it'll be 50 years in February. I've been a business owner. And I've met a lot of people, and I know a lot of influential people in the city of Chicago. And I can connect them with someone that can help them. So I think mentoring as we age is critically important. And I'm sure we do it. You do it in your culture, I do it in my culture. We get older, we provide advice. So that's why I do it.
Great. Actually, this is very important to us as humans, and to know that their personal life is affecting the world. And this kind of understanding from you, this really, as you mentioned, it transferred into higher performance into the company. So it's like kind of a win-win situation for you and for the employees as well. So yes. I think this is really brilliant. Really, yeah. Thank you for sharing this, Tom. I would love to discuss your leadership and management style in a greater detail. So let me ask you, how do you inspire your employees and coworkers?
I don't know if I could inspire anybody to do anything except fall asleep. But what I try to do in my leadership style is, when I started in 1971, in 1970, 71, the leadership style was command and control. I'm in charge, you work for me, I sign the check in the front, you endorse it on the back, I'm the boss, you listen to me. Well, how far can you grow with that attitude? Because you only have one mind and 60,000 thoughts. Over time, I went to different styles that academia came up with. They came up with holistic, where everybody makes a choice, and transformational leadership versus transactional. I studied all these styles of leadership, but I found one about 10 years ago that made a lot of sense, and it's called authentic leadership. First of all, I don't believe in the word management except for procedures and processes. We don't manage people. And anybody that thinks they can manage a human being is underestimating the power of an intellect and power of a mind. We can lead people, but we can't manage them. We can manage them physically. We can put constraints on them and put them in a cell, and we can limit what they can do. But we can't ever do this unless we use some serious issues to control a mind. But authentic leadership is the style that I endorse now, and I think it applies to all ages and to all ethnic backgrounds and to all religions. And I think because it's based on this, authentic leadership is based on, first, you live your company's values, and the values have to be posted and clear. And I've shared with you our 7 core values, and everybody in our company knows those values. They can repeat them because we say them before every meeting of 3 people or more. We repeat the values. We'll always be moral, ethical, and legal. We treat all with respect, etc. We go around the table and everybody says one of the values till we do the whole culture statement. So it becomes conscious, subconscious, subliminal in our company. It becomes our assumed behavior. It's the way we live, the way we think. So if I live those 7 core values all the time, 24 hours a day, all the time, away from work and at work, then people can begin to trust me. So if authentic leadership is built on respect, trust, and then emotional commitment. So the respect is, you and I have communicated on email, and we've seen each other on the internet, and we've developed a mutual respect because we just like each other, I would imagine. I'm hypothecating you like me, but I like you, right? And then it gets into trust. Once we have respect, we have to earn trust. I have to earn trust from my employees every single day, every single minute, and every single hour. And once I have my employees' trust, I can get to emotional commitment. But until then, I can't. So trust. What is trust? You earn trust not by words, but by being vulnerable and by being intimate, by being willing to admit to an employee, you were wrong. I was wrong. I made an error. I'm sorry. I don't think there's anything more powerful than to tell an employee, I'm sorry, and be serious about that. And then intimate is, I want to share my fears with my employees. Like, we're going through this terrible COVID virus in the United States, and our business is down 85%. And I told our employees, I'm frightened. In the 49 years I've been in business, I've never had a business shutdown. I've had slowdowns, but I'm frightened. I'm afraid. And I need all of us to think how we're going to get this out, because collectively we can do this. So I was vulnerable and intimate. And guess what happened? Our people, we're the only caterer that's open in the city of Chicago. We've stayed open in the city of Chicago. We're serving the military that's running the hospitals. We're the only caterer now doing business because our employees figured out how to do it. They said, we'll drive by companies that have large cars in their parking lot, a lot of cars, and we'll say that's a company that needs food. So first we have that respect, and we can't lose it. And if I violate any of my core values, I lose respect from all of our employees. If I tell a lie, they're going to know that Tom told a lie. They're going to tell everybody, and they're going to say, I can't respect him and I don't trust him. But once we earn respect and trust, then we can get into emotional commitment. And employee engagement is the emotional commitment an employee has to its organization's values, vision, and mission. And the more emotional commitment they have, the higher the discretionary thoughts they give to the company. So if we have 60,000 thoughts a day and we only give a company 4 to 6%, if we have high emotional commitment, I bet they will give us more. They could give us 10% of their thoughts. But it's just like being in love, with my wife. I had to earn her respect. I had to earn her trust in order to earn her love. And at work, if we these human beings are human beings. If they understand love, if they're not sociopaths or pathological liars or psychopaths, but if they understand love, then you treat them the same way, with respect, trust, and you can build that relationship of mutual appreciation. So that's how we focus our leadership. As our leaders, we teach leadership to every employee in the company. We teach it to brand new employees. First, we teach them in TC University. We teach them culture, our culture class. How do we do our culture? Because every company has a culture. Some are great cultures, some are terrible cultures. Peter Drucker, a great businessman, said in the 40s and 50s, that the outcome of every organization is directly related to its behaviors, its culture. So if we clearly state our culture, then employees can choose to work for us and say, I like working for this company because this is what they stand for. But if we never tell them what we stand for, how do they know? So once again, authentic leadership is based on this employee engagement model, the end result of employee engagement. And I want our employees to be engaged in our company because it'll make them more money. It'll make me more money. It makes all of us more money. So that's a long-winded answer to you, but that's why I believe in authentic leadership.
Actually, this is very interesting to hear this from an owner. And usually I hear this from a university professor or in workshops or in something. So for me, this was something like an academic. But now, suddenly, I find it very practical. You are actually very inspired, even when you are talking to me. So this is something that's really unusual. And this is something that definitely affects the work is happening in the company itself.
Yes.
So and I think this is going to sound well in my next question to you. So do your employees take part in your company strategy?
My employees are the strategy. They're the ones that lead the strategy. So we have broken the company into 7, 8, or 9 teams, and I forget because we have a new CEO. I abdicated. I left the CEO position in January, and a new 35-year-old man is now our CEO, and he's changed some of the teams. But our employees right now, it's called Good to Great because our revolution was built on the book Good to Great by James Collins. And we had everybody in the company read it, and most of our company speaks Spanish or English. And we bought the book in both languages so everyone would be learning the same approach to business. We have a Good to Great council made up of one member from each team, each one of the teams. But it's not necessarily the team leader. It's just a person from the team, just another intellect, another thinker. And right now they're charged with how are we going to get out of this slowdown from this epidemic, this virus? How are we going to come out? And my goodness, the first meeting, there were ideas I never thought of. I was shocked. And so the strategy planning is coming from actual people within the company, thinking not the top leaders, because what are my discretionary thoughts? I'm down 85%. How much longer can I last? How am I going to do business? I'm dealing from weakness, and you can't lead from weakness. So yes, we believe in our employees being the strategic thinkers of the company. And over time, we've found out that some people aren't thinkers; they're just doers. And we got rid of some staff, but we also encouraged the staff that was with us to think and talk and teach us. And it's amazing to see us when we went through the economic slowdown in 2008 during the Great Recession in the United States. Our employees led us out of that. They came up with ideas on how to save the company money, and they came up with ideas on new revenue streams, and they switched revenue models. They said, instead of doing this, why don't we try this also? And they never heard of blue ocean strategy, but they did it. Yeah. I go, oh, that's blue ocean strategy. Oh, what is that? But yes, our people are strategic thinkers.
This is really great. So, and what you mentioned now, that they shifted the company revenue stream from one area to another. This is really something dynamic. It's not only they put a strategy in the beginning of the year and that's it. No, it's dynamic, and they did this years back. Now I think they are more into the ownership culture.
We believe in distributive leadership. We've had 6 doctoral dissertations done on Tasty Catering. 6 people that were getting their doctor's degree studied Tasty Catering because of the unique culture. The first one was on their culture, the ethnographic study of culture in a small workplace by Dr. Benedetto. The last one was by Dr. Julie Huffaker, and it was titled We to We, a distributive leadership model, and how Tasty Catering creates these leaders and hires leaders. Now, why can't a 23-year-old or 24-year-old think about how to change this company? I did when I was 24. I was starting my own businesses. By the time I was 25, I had 3 businesses. So why can't they at 25 be thinking how to be a business leader? I was. And furthermore, when these people come to work every day, they make a decision on what kind of shirt to put on, what kind of pants to put on, what kind of shoes to wear, how to get to work. So when they walk in the door, do we make them stop thinking and say, you do what I tell you to do? I think that's idiotic. I think that's stupid. I think when they walk in the door, we ask them to make more decisions. What do we do next? How do we do it? And as long as they're doing it according to the values on the wall, the 7 values, they're making decisions, we support them. Whether it was a right decision, wrong decision, good outcome or poor income, we support it. We have independent leaders. We teach leadership. We teach authentic leadership. We teach them how to think under critical issues. And every day we're getting reports of people out on the streets dealing with companies dropping food off and setting up that made hardcore decisions in case of a problem that solved everything. Like there was a wedding last summer and there were like 500 people there, and it was at a municipal complex, not our building, some other building, and all the power went out. The electricity went out. And when the electricity went out, I'm home sound asleep in my bed, sleeping. And I found out because I woke up at 2 a.m. to have a bottle of water, and I read the after action reports. I went, no electricity. Well, the young lady that was running it, the crew leader, called up our warehouse and said, I want 10 generators brought down here instantly. I need them now. And then she called, we all have lists of who our craftsmen are, our professional tradesmen. She called the electrician and woke him up at night. I need 10 generators wired into this electrical panel. And the guy said, well, it belongs to a municipality. You better get their approval. She said, just get over here. I'll get the municipality. She called the municipality. She called the mayor at home and said, I need to wire this. She got it done. Now, any interference to me, she made all the decisions. And why did she do that? I said, what made you do that? She said, she looked at our core values, and our 6th core value is an individual circle of discipline. She said, my circle of discipline that night was to make sure I executed this right for the company. And number 7 is freedom and responsibility within that circle. I was responsible to the company. I was free to make the decision to make it work. 2 weeks later, at the same facility, at another wedding with about 1,000 people, one of our chefs ate an orange peel and was choking, laying on the floor. She walked in the kitchen, saw him, and gave him the Heimlich maneuver to save his life. And now we call her the lifesaver. I mean, when you have and then we, of course, to make this really stick out in the company, we put it in our newsletters, we put it up on our video boards throughout the company, in all the rooms, the picture of the employee, what decision they made, what a powerful decision it is. And we do this repeatedly because it reinforces the fact you can make decisions, you can lead, and we will support you. And so this is how we did it, how we changed that thinking of, she should have called me or my brother and says, Tom, what should I do? I'm asleep. I don't know. Just let me go back to sleep. But she made those decisions because that's just the way we do business.
So sticking to the values and having it everywhere, this inspired your employees to take unprecedented behaviors and take unprecedented responsibility, and they start to act like an owner. And this even has been encouraged by you, because you mentioned in the beginning, why don't I let other employees to be entrepreneurs like I have been while I was young? So actually your trust in them and your encourage to them has made them be different people and take different kind of decision, and which actually let them grow in a growth stage. Now I think they are in the growth stage and growth mindset. It's not like they are just employees, as you said, men waiting for you to give them orders. No, it's different. It's interactive. They are living their values and living their behaviors, and because they got it from you. You inspired them, and khalas, already it's internalized within them. So they are living it on a day-to-day basis.
Yes. I cannot tell you how many people have told me this is their job for the rest of their life. They don't want to go anywhere else. They're not even looking. Because culture attracts people of the same matter. One of the spin-off companies we had is this company called Euphoric. I happen to be sitting in their video conference room. And they're a marketing company, but only market for caterers in the United States and venues. And they market our culture and they market our people. So when these stories happened of Teresa Lopez and Jessica Lopez, when someone when the power went out, they marketed that. It went on social media, and it went on LinkedIn, and it went on Facebook. And so they're marketing the fact we have great people. And we market the fact that they celebrated 20 years with us or 22 years with us. And this attracts other people. Like we have this one lady that drives 1 hour to work every day. She's an event designer, a wedding planner. She's brilliant, beautiful, talented. And I said, why do you drive an hour to work? You go by all of our competitors. You can have any job in the city. And she said, I've waited 2.5 years for this opening at your company because I know about your culture. I've talked to some of your event designers. They love working at that company. So I waited 2.5 years for this opportunity. Another girl, when we had an event designer position open, because the 2 event designer ladies got pregnant and they were having babies. The other girl that came on board was 300 miles away in St. Louis, Missouri, and she heard about this through her alma mater, Bradley University. The Tasty Catering had a position open. She drove up the day after she heard about it. She called and made an appointment for an interview and drove up the next day, 600 miles round trip just to apply for the job because she wanted to work at a company like Tasty Catering. So this attracts people that have ideas, that want to start businesses, that want to do better, that want to take their potential and have it realized in a workplace. We just are the platform. We're just the foundation that are giving them a platform for their voice, a platform for their intelligence, a platform for them to become all they can be. And then some people want to start businesses. And I said, okay. Like the girl who told me she waited 2.5 years, she said, I'm not working for anybody else the rest of my life. This is my last job, but I want to get into restaurants, and I want you to support me and be my partner. And I said, 3 years. Let's see how we do for 3 years. And I want you to take these courses for certification. And if you take those courses and we are still care for each other in 3 years, yes, I will invest in you. And if I die, it's already in my will that I want to set aside money to invest in this girl, because it's giving her the opportunity. Now I'm no longer her boss. I'm no longer the owner of the company. I'm her mentor. I'm her friend. I'm helping her succeed. And she was just named the hospitality star of Chicago for May of this year. She was just named the best person in hospitality in May. She's been with us for 10 months by that time, but she already had earned recognition. So this culture and our values is what attracts people to our business and keeps our people with us.
This is really, really inspiring, really. And as you mentioned, you just now mentioned that you want your employees to grow. You are offering them learning opportunities, which is not that common in other companies, which only give salaries and that's it. They don't care for you. And even you mentioned while you are talking now about TC University, which is Tasty Catering University. What's the unique learning offering that TC University provides, which is not there in other entrenched universities out there?
Well, we all have a desire for lifelong learning. You're a very educated man. Congratulations on what you have done to continue with school like you did. I respect you very much for that. I think all of us have that desire to learn. And if you don't have the desire to learn, I don't want to be your friend, because you just want to learn a little bit and then you don't want to learn anymore. But all the things that I've learned in my life, why don't I have a formal opportunity to teach others, to teach our employees? So we have like 10 different courses you can take, and you have to spend 8 hours of your work life at Tasty Catering. In 1 year, you can spend 8 hours being paid on company time to take courses at TC University. And that's any one of our companies. It could be the marketing company, the food manufacturing company. But you go in and you take a course. The first course that's mandated is culture. It's a 90-minute class about our culture. And you take that within 3 days of being hired. And it's taught by me, and it's about what does this mean and how does it impact us. And we tell the stories of how this is built over the years, and we put into action each one of the values. Tell a story about how an employee did something good using a value. The second one is leadership, because I want the employees to understand what motivates us as leaders. They're team captains, the department captains, the event captains. I want us all to lead the same way. There's the right way to lead and there's a wrong way. For example, there's a thing called an amygdala hijack. And amygdala, I wish I knew the Arabic word for it, but the amygdala sits behind the neocortex, and it's fight or flight. It's the emotional. So if I yell at an employee, the amygdala gland cuts off the neocortex, the ability to think, and it turns a person into emotions, rage, anger, hostility, and it leads to bad chemicals, cortisol going through the system. But if I treat people with respect and dignity, it stimulates from the neocortex oxytocin, which is a positive chemical in our bodies, which is called the love drug by medical experts. So do you want a company filled with angry people or loving people? Well, then as a leader, we don't yell. It's against the rules of Tasty Catering to ever yell. We don't raise our voices. We don't make fun of people. We don't gossip. That creates amygdala hijacks. Instead, we have conversations, and the more sensitive the conversation, the more the impact for love, for caring. You know, when you tell somebody, this is something that I don't think you're doing right, and this is how it's affecting others, and this is the core value that you might be breaking, then you feel, first you're defensive, but then you feel grateful that someone pointed this out to you. So we teach everybody in the company how to lead. Another one of the interesting things is we have some very low-level jobs. I mean, very low-level, washing dishes, for example. And not everybody understands finances. Not everybody understands budgeting. Not everybody understands planning for the future. So one of our people in the finance department is a certified financial planner. She used to do financial planning for America's great athletes, basketball players, football players. She used to personally plan their finances. And then her company was sold and merged with a company that had a terrible culture. And she left that company to come work for us because of our culture. So we have her teach budgeting and financial planning to dishwashers so they know how much money to put aside to wait for their days when they retire. And when families are buying a house, she helps them make a decision on what can they afford, what can't they afford, and how to get better interest rates and how to invest their money. And then she makes recommendations if we should loan employees money, because we loan money to our employees all the time for family needs, not for new cars they don't need or something, but for family needs. If they get into a problem, we can help them. But they have to sit down with this woman and they have to explain to her what they did. So all of this is built around the employee, what they're thinking. So we offer food sciences. So we had one young lady go from being an entry-level culinarian to becoming our number 2 chef, our sous chef. That took her 4 years to go through. We paid for it. This was an outside part of TC University. We paid for her to go to a culinary school and become a chef. She's been with us 13 years. 6 of them as our sous chef. And that's how you build this loyalty. And this is how you build this tremendous engagement. Because Ahmed, I'm going to explain something to you I learned. And I'm just a stupid guy, but I'm an old guy that learned things along the way. And I always thought that financial performance was the thing owners and leaders should focus on, right? Yeah. We want to hit our goals. In the beginning, I introduced you to Erin, who came in and helped me set up this conference system because I don't even know how to do Zoom. But she said to me in 2006, she called me Chief Culture Officer, and she said, that's the title we gave you, the Good to Great Council. You're going to be our Chief Culture Officer. And I said, what does that mean? And she drew organizational behavior on the whiteboard. She drew antecedents, A, leads to B, behaviors, which leads to C, consequences. She said, you have been focused on consequences your whole business career. We want you to focus on behaviors. We want you to enforce the culture. We gave you the antecedents. Our employees created the culture, the whole culture, vision, mission, values. They created all of it. And she said, it's up to you now to enforce that. Because if you enforce the behaviors, we don't have to worry about the consequences. They'll be good. That girl, by the way, was a professional soccer player until she had a hip injury. She scored top of her class in grammar school, high school, and college. Number 1 in her graduate class and all of them, and even in the master's program at a university in Chicago. only one B plus in her whole life. The rest were the top grade you can get. And that was when she left professional soccer. Brilliant, brilliant person. And what happened at that point, Ahmed, is that I changed my thinking to focusing on people and their behaviors. So now I'm the top owner of the company. I'm the number one guy, right? But my whole focus every day is on people. It's not about how much money we did. I look at that when I have coffee in the morning or something. But I walk around and I look at eyeballs and I look at faces and I study nonverbal behavior. And I can look out a window into a manufacturing of our food processing and I can look at people's faces and say, Carlos does not look happy today. What's bothering Carlos? And I go out and talk to Carlos. And that frees up his discretionary thinking when he shares his problem with me. And he knows I really care about him. And I knows I'm not going to leave until I get an answer. He's going to tell me. If I have to say, we're going to go for a walk and sit down in a room and tell his supervisor, no, that he's going to be with me. Get someone else to take his job. But then the people know the number one guy in the company, his only job is caring about me. And what do you think they give back? My number one job is making sure Tom's company works well. So Erin was spot on when she said, you need to focus on the behaviors of the company, not the outcomes. You can't work backwards in this formula, she told me. You have to work from left to right, not right to left. You have to take antecedents, then behaviors. Then. So here, you mentioned earlier about academics, right? I love academia, and I've spoken at the Academy of Management probably 15 times in the last 9 years. In fact, that's where I mentioned Dr. Kim Cameron from Michigan. I spoke with him 2 years ago. And academia loves me because I take their best theories and put them to use, and I give them stories on how it all works. So we went through Schumpeter's creative destruction. We've gone through Kotter's 8 steps of change. We've done it, and it works. And then we can show them how, in fact, our Good to Great Council right now that's meeting on how to lead us out of this dismal 85% downturn in our business is following Kotter's 8 steps. Everybody has Kotter's 8 steps, and they know we're going to do this, and it's going to change the organization. So I take these theories, like another one is positive psychological capital, and that's HERO. Hope, efficacy, the ability to set goals and achieve them, resiliency, and optimism. Dr. Fred Luthans wrote the foreword of my book, and he is the senior thought leader in the Academy of Management on positive psychological capital. So when this girl had this problem at this event and the electricity went out, she just didn't sit down and cry and say, oh no, now what do I do? She understood her training about positive psychological capital. She understood the hope, the resiliency, the efficacy, the optimism, and sprung into action. Fought off the depression and went right into action, took action steps. And I told her, this was positive psychological capital, and you used it. It's what we trained you in. So how many catering businesses, how many food companies train their drivers in positive psychological capital? How about emotional intelligence? We train all of our staff in emotional intelligence. So we take these theories that I think are applicable to human beings in our workforce and teach them through TC universities. And now they think that they are superior to anybody that does their level job in our city of Chicago. They're better because they know more. They're more educated. Why do you limit education? You know, there are people in our company that aren't from our country that came here as immigrants. They don't speak English. Does that make them stupid? No. How much intelligence do they have, but they've never had the opportunity to show it? We have a girl in our salad line that's in charge of making salads and sandwiches. That's her area of responsibility. She's one of the best critical thinkers I've ever met, yet only had 7 years of formal education in Mexico. Never had the opportunity to go to a college. But she's a brilliant thinker and can come up with ideas and thoughts to me. So I don't look at the person's academic background unless it's a technical skill like an accountant or a financial person. I look at what they're capable of and what their desires are and how we can mold them.
Wow. Really, your answer is very, very insightful. And I didn't expect that answer from you, actually. This is really, really insightful. When you really care for people and teaching them emotional intelligence for everyone, this is really a core. I know a lot of people who, after years, maybe 20 years or something, discover that emotional intelligence is more important than the technical skills that they already used throughout all of their lives. So when you are giving them this tool from the beginning, actually you are empowering them as human beings. And definitely they are going to repay you with all of their heart and all of their spirit, and they will give you maybe 200% or 400%, or whatever their capacity is. So really, this is very, very, very insightful. Thank you, Tom, for that. Great.
My pleasure. And we do measure the culture, and we measure it through a company called Human Synergistics. We measure the culture, we measure behaviors, we measure engagement, because we want those metrics to show consistency, or what should we be doing better. But you're right, I love my employees. I love them. I love them as a father or as a grandfather. They all matter to me. I had some heart issues and I was gone for like 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. And I'm in bed almost in tears because I miss my people. And I came in and I'm hugging cooks and I'm hugging bakers and I'm smiling and punching knuckles with all these employees, and we're laughing and talking. And it's not owner to an employee. It's friend to friend. It's respected person to respected person. Respected woman to a respected man, and vice versa. So we're all equal. They know they are the same thing as me, that we were made by our maker the same way. The only thing is, my title is I'm the owner. I'm the chief culture officer. I'm responsible for that. But, we're the same. And once they understand that they truly are the same, oh my goodness, the ideas come out, they start talking, they feel comfortable. Yeah, we have 150 thinkers in our catering company, not 4 thinkers at the top. We have 150 that make split-second decisions on how to lead this company. And it's critical. At times like this, it's critical. I know we're one of the 4 largest caterers in Chicago. We do over 10,000 events a year. And in some areas, we are the leader. In some other areas, we're not. But I know after this serious problem we're having, we're going to be the number 1 caterer in Chicago. We're going to be ahead of everybody else because they're closed and we're doing business and we're picking up clients, and because our employees said we're not going to close. We owe it to our clients to be there for them when they need food. Where are they going to get food? So that was the employees telling me, no, we're not going to close, Tom. We're going to stay open. Because I said, I think we should close. He said, no, we're not.
Thank you, dear listeners, and I hope you were inspired as much as me. Stay tuned for Tom's Part 2 interview. This is your host, Ahmed Arif.